The ending to this episode was the best part. That was absolutely the best part. The drama between Yasmin and Harper, the intensity. Then they started slapping each other. I was not expecting the slaps, but it got to that level because Harper used Yasmin for the entire ESG trade and to go short on Pierpoint completely. They're trying to mess the whole company up. And Yasmin, mind you, Harper didn't actually want to use Yasmin in the beginning. She's trying to tell Petra, listen, I know she knows she did tell her we could basically manipulate Yasmin previously on previous episodes, but that's what Petra's using to justify doing it again. And Harper's like, since she's aware of how bad it's going for Yasmin when it comes to what happened with her father, then she actually finds the body now. They find the body at the beginning of this episode. Season 3, episode 6 is what we're talking about. And Harper was there for Yasmin throughout the whole time on a little boat, whatever you want to call it, a yacht, whatever the fuck that is. So then she's actually trying to be there once again. And she tells Petra, let's do this some other type of way, but Petra basically says business is business. This isn't emotional. You got to be logical about it. And she's like, you're right. So she avoids trying to find another way, and she uses Yasmin for this trade. And of course, as soon as I saw that Yasmin gave the list, I said, oh, they're going to come back to this. They're going to actually have a debate at the end. Somebody's going to go to someone's place and they're going to something's going to go down for sure. Because when she gave the list, Yasmin is one of my favorite characters on the series, but the innocence when it comes to these stuff, when it comes to the finance side, she's very innocent. She thinks it's point blank. What they tell you is what is the trade they're looking for. She doesn't know this could be a contrarian view, and they're actually looking for the list to actually see if these companies, they could just see the companies on the whole ESG trade, or they're not doing well, or this is what's on the balance sheet overall, basically. After they heard the rumors, and Harper was literally in the bathroom when the blonde employee, I forgot her name, is literally telling Yasmin about the trade, the potential collapse of Pierpoint, and how fucked up the balance sheet is, and how they have all this messed up because the maturity for this debt is going to basically come and they can't refinance. And all these companies are doing worse than when they were at the beginning of this whole holding for Pierpoint. So that happens, and Harper listens to it. And Harper is very smart. So what she does, she tells Petra. Petra's not at the beginning aware of how good the trade is. And then she realizes, okay, hold up. We could even use Pierpoint to our advantage and act like we're actually interested on this. But now we're actually trying to short this. Crazy, right? And they're trying to go with the excuse that since these bonds are at such a low level, we'll just buy here. BS. Obviously, Yasmin falls for it. Everybody else falls for it, right? And now they're trying to short this to the ground again. And basically, they're aware of the potential bankruptcy risk. So it's just going to go further down. And at that point, we have this whole situation where Eric, that was hilarious. Eric was weird on this episode. Eric had a lot of weird stuff, especially the whole dinner thing. I don't like a lot how this series always has to have like a sex scene. It's a bit too much for every episode, but that was weird. Eric had to go to the bathroom. You know what happened if you saw the episode. But the scene between him and Yasmin was funny because he's trying to navigate and say how all this had happened with my family, maybe it has a purpose. That's why maybe I'm here with you. And Yasmin is like, shut the fuck up. Don't do this right now. And it makes sense because Eric doesn't even know that they found the body of Yasmin's father. So he's talking all this, and Yasmin is just thinking about, my father's dead. I'm trying to save the ring. She asked the person from the autopsy, whatever you call it. for the ring. And she has too much on her mind to think of what Eric is even talking about, which is reasonable, right? But man, Harper, brilliant how she just tells Petra, and Petra, brilliant too, right? They get out of the whole other firm. Forgot the name of the lady that had that other firm, whatever it was invested in Lumi, trash stock. That IPO episode was hilarious. But going back to this, they try to say, okay, we're going to look for every possible way to see how they can give us the list. We're going to act like we're interested on these ESGs. And the whole thing is just hilarious how everybody buys it, of course, for the plot, for the sense of the plot of this series. But they believe that they're interested actually, that they're going to buy it. That's why they're looking for the companies and the whole thing. And when you finally realize that they finally realize that Pierpoint is invested in all of this, and it's really, really bad. As bad as the theory was from the lady that was talking to Yasmin about it, the employee from Pierpoint, that's when they know we're going all in. Mind you, this employee went to interview with Harper on their firm. On this episode it was. And it was interesting because Harper is basically being as explicit as possible and letting her know, I found out about what you were talking about. That's when the employee realizes, oh shit, they're basically here to use me as a way to quantify how real this problem is or not, since I'm working at Pierpoint. So when she figures out, she's like, I'm leaving. And that's when Harper says, interestingly enough, something about, mind you, any interview you take with me is out of the, she said it's not out of the gate. She says something like it's out of the paper, maybe. It wasn't paper, but she said it in a way that it's not in written. So you're basically, it's not going to be known that you took the interview with me because of what I have dealing with Pierpoint. As in this hatred, basically, at this point. It feels like a hatred because she has a beef with Eric, which is ironic because that's her mentor. And basically, how she got that, and she even lets Eric know the philosophy of how she manages the market is basically because of him at that point. So when Eric is speaking to Yasmin, the trading desk, and Yasmin said, they were interested in seeing some ESGs in a whole trade, and so we gave them the list. The way Eric says, he's grabbing his head, he's like, you gave him the fucking list? Holy shit, that's when he snaps. And Yasmin is like, what the fuck is going on? She takes some time to realize, oh shit, they used me. So Eric goes, I don't even know how Eric knows where this is, but he goes right to where Harper works with Petra. And when he goes in, they're not trying to let him in. One of the secretaries, whatever you want to call it, the employee. And then he goes right in. And as soon as he's going in, bro, he goes inside to Harper's desk. And he's like, you fucking cunt. You miserable piece of shit. I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, only Yasmin would be stupid enough to think you're still her friend. He says something like that. I'm like, holy shit. Stupid enough to still call you a friend and you use her like that. So now Eric is trying to like defend Yasmin, but at the same time, it's more about Pierpoint. When you realize what's happening to Bill, basically his boss, and he has cancer now, and Eric has to go to his house to realize, oh shit, we really are about to go down, like completely collapse. It is what it is. And then Harper's like, you need a glass of water. That is hilarious. Like the first thing is like, you need a glass of water, relax. But as soon as he's like, you're a cunt, and he tells the Yasmin situation, like, you're a fake friend and all that, Harper's like, I'm using your philosophy, basically. She tells him, I got this from you. This mentality. Bro, I thought they were I thought he might have hit her or she might have hit him. I don't think they hit each other, right? No, they didn't. They didn't hit each other. It was only Yasmin and Harper at the end of this episode. But the intensity right there, this was the second best part of the episode. The way they were speaking to each other. And when Eric realizes she's really one step ahead right now with this whole trade and she's going to fuck us over. It wasn't enough with the previous situations at the beginning of this season. Now she's really going to fuck us over. So crazy. I love that part because they go and then they actually meet with this other bank, which is ironically where all the people from the previous seasons that were working at Pierpoint are now working at. That other blonde lady, the guy that was always messing with Yasmin in the first 2 seasons, I forgot his name, the guy with like the reddish, not red, kind of like red and blonde hair. You know who he is. He was always messing with Yasmin. So they're all there and the other people from the bank, and they tell them, man, it was like 500 million. It was more than half the fund, I think is what Petra said. Petra and Harper are sitting down right there with the bank and with the people talking, and they let it be known that they're going to use more than half of the fund. And I think it was the one that was working before that Harper basically got her fired. She's about to tell Petra and Harper that making that kind of a trade with that much capital is crazy. And when she's about to say it's crazy, Harper says it's confidence. I think that's what she says. It's confidence. Because they're that sure. They know everything. Excuse me. Mind you, the bank isn't really aware of how obvious this trade is. So Harper is like, it's confidence. And she looks very stoic right here. So does Petra. She's aware. So the fact that all that happens, basically they get the deal done with the bank. Because they're going to short, so they have to borrow. The borrow fee is going to be significant given the amount of time they might hold this trade, the fluctuations, the volatility. But at the same time, it's a winning trade for sure. And pun intended, for short, you could have said, but either way. And the fact that it's actually this way, and they're having to go back to the people that once were at Pierpoint, these people have an incentive to fuck up Pierpoint as well. So they're going to give the trade. They can actually find a way to facilitate the shorting of this. And they're even going to get some CDS, which is credit default swaps, in case of the volatility. And the possibility with CDS is that for Pierpoint specifically, if the possibility of bankruptcy goes high very quickly, the CDS gains value. I'm not sure if they were going to do a credit default swaps on Pierpoint specifically. I can't remember if they even had it for Pierpoint or if it was from some other derivative, but I'm pretty sure maybe it was Pierpoint. Given the terminologies on this series, they try to go with a lot of things very quickly. But if you're not into trading or finance, you might not understand it. And even me, who actually trade, I still have to go back, even though I do understand the whole actual trade at this point. It's still very interesting to me how they actually get it done with more than half of the fund. That's serious. Anybody else, it would be looked at as gambling. But at this point, the stoicism on their faces and the way they're actually sure of this is, okay, we're going to fuck this up for them, for Pierpoint. So great episode. Great seeing them with Yasmin and Harper. What happens? Yasmin is like, you used me. I thought you were a friend. I counted on you. I thought you were going to be the person that was going to be there for me, how you were at the boat, the little boat, whatever you want to call it. But every single time you find it a way to make it about you, you're selfish, whatever it is. And then Harper goes crazy and starts calling her, you're worthless, you're talentless, the same way Yasmin's father used to say, Harper saying, you're worthless, you're talentless, you're just a whore for everybody that's been with you. Something, I think she even mentions her father at some point, and she starts saying how, and she goes actually to go to Yasmin and say like things are gonna be okay and all of that, and try to like maybe even apologize for using her like that. But once Yasmin tells what happens and how she realizes how Harper used her for the list, shit goes down crazy. So they actually slap each other. That was hilarious. And then Harper just goes out of the home. Yasmin just throws one of the chairs that's next to her. But the whole way Harper was talking to her, you got to see that last part if you haven't seen it. If you're watching this video because you saw it, that was amazing. Like, you're a talentless whore, basically, is what she tells Yasmin. And amazing. Yasmin she was very truthful to Harper. I mean, she was telling Harper the truth. Harper makes it a lot about her. But man, the condescending tone and wording from Harper to Yasmin, insane. She was replying back with such a condescending vibe and trying to make it about Yasmin, and then Yasmin making it about Harper. It was crazy. Those are my two favorite characters. A lot of great characters here. The Rishi episode was insane. Let me know what you think. I thought this was an amazing episode, one of the best yet. That's going to be it for this one.